Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. Let me know if you can. Yay, let me go ahead and turn on my alerts so that I can hear you guys if anything pops up. I'm sorry, I hope that the sudden audio wasn't startling to anybody. Hi, welcome. I did actually shower before today's Naked Truth, which is why I'm a few minutes late, so I'm sorry, but my hair's wet and I'm going back to the Naked Truth roots of thinking about it during the shower and then getting out of the shower and coming in. Oh, hey, I see so many people in chat. Captain says, just woke up for this. Well, thank you. I feel super honored. Mahel says, can hear just fine. Okay, perfect. Audio's good. That's great. Yeah, so sorry we stayed on the title screen for a little bit, and I was actually trying to make a custom thumbnail for this episode, but I did not get it uploaded in time. So for those of you watching this not live later, there will be a thumbnail for this episode, but instead everyone else just got the norms. Hey Foo, hey guys, hey Victor Garcia, hey New Zealand Jester, how's it going? So today I was inspired by a tweet that Critical Role tweeted out recently, and let me go ahead and find it. I retweeted it. I'll find it here on my handy dandy phones and stuff. They said, an important reminder from all of us at Critical Role. We've shared many laughs, many tears, many defeats, and many victories over the years. You are an important part of who we are and what we do. Don't forget to love each other and know that we love you. And it made me think about, they kind of followed that up with like, if you're having a hard time, here's some places to go for help. And it made me think about when I was at a point in my life where I reached out for help and how some people may not feel like that's an option for them, whether because they feel some sort of stigma associated with getting help or if financially it's not an option or whatever. And I just thought, why don't I share my story? That's not something that I've done before. And that's what the Naked Truth is all about, is about sharing those stories. And if my story can help someone else out there feel like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to go to counseling and make their lives better because it totally changed my life and made my life better, then that's A plus. So that's why I thought I would do this today. Rimmon says, is that the S9 Plus you got? It sure is. But I also just got a Google Pixel 3 and I'm going to be doing some photo comparisons, on my Instagram. But anyway, back to therapy. Hi guys. Hi to all the fellow critters in chat. Yeah, I agree, McMurray. So basically, here's my story in a nutshell. This was while I was at SourceFed. It was actually probably within the first year of SourceFed. But I had gotten out of a relationship and I was super bummed about it. Like many of us are when we have a relationship fail, we're super bummed about it. And I found that thank you for the sub. Hey, down here. Yeah. I found that I was feeling angry. I was angry at the world. I was very defensive if I was out in public and like a guy even looked at me nicely. I was like, don't come near me. Like I was very wounded. And that's not the person that I like to walk around being. That's not who I like to be in my normal life, just when I'm interacting with anyone. So I thought, you know what? This is a great time for me to go to therapy. Not only was I kind of angry at the world, but I also had realized that in my dating life, and this is my perspective, I'm sure everyone else would tell you a different story, but from my perspective, I had dated 3 different people long term that left me for their mom. That's how I saw it. And so at this point, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm not, like, maybe the problem isn't all them. Maybe at this point it's a pattern and I have to do with this problem. Welcome to the new subscribers in chat. Thank you guys so much. But yeah, so I was like, let's just go see if I can find out if I am part of the problem, how I can maybe correct my behavior to make that better and be less angry in general. So I started looking for a therapist. And I didn't know what I was doing. I'd never been to therapy before. But I ended up finding someone that I connected with that was an LCSW. And that's a licensed social worker. And it's very different. There's all different types of counseling and therapy you can get, but there's LCSW, there's an MD or a psychiatrist, there's a marriage and family therapist, there's PhD, people who have a PhD, which is a psychologist. And I feel like more important than the type of counselor you go to is finding a fit with the counselor where you really feel like you're both working towards the same goal and this is someone you feel confident in talking to, because that's really what it's all about. So I found an LCSW who was willing to work with me financially because I didn't really have a lot of options when it came to that. And she made it super affordable so that I could figure it out and make it work with my life. And I saw her twice a week for a while, and then I saw her once a week for a while, and she kind of helped me realize, how to get on the path to healing so I wasn't so angry anymore. And she helped me realize some of the patterns I was going through with my dating, which I think I've probably, I love everyone laughing at everyone in chat trying to guess what leaving me for their mom is. Basically, I went from long-term monogamous relationships, some of which we were living together in like a domestic partnership kind of way, and they essentially broke off their relationship to move back home with their parents or their family. And so that's why I say left me for their mom. Now, granted, this is only my side of the story, so please take that with a grain of salt. But that's how I was feeling. It's now I've dated 3 people long-term that left me for their mom. Maybe this is my issue. So anyway, what this counselor helped me to realize was that maybe I was kind of assuming the role of the caretaker in the relationship because it made me feel less insecure. Like maybe if they need me to take care of them, then they won't leave me, was kind of what was going on subconsciously. And also my counselor was like, this is kind of funny. My counselor was like, so you're dating people that you want to change? And I was like, no, that's horrible. I would never date people that I want to change. I'm just trying to help them realize their goals and dreams. Like they say they want to do this thing, so I'm helping them get there. And the counselor was like, so you want them to be something other than what they are? And I thought about it and I said, well, when you put it like that, sure. But it was kind of like a light bulb going off moment for me because I thought, I'm so good at checking things off lists and achieving goals. If I can help somebody else do this, then I'm making their life better and I'm doing this because I care about them. When really, maybe those are things they didn't really want to achieve. Maybe they thought they wanted to, but they weren't ready yet, or for whatever various reasons, maybe they wanted to go on that journey themselves. And I was taking too much of kind of that caretaker role. So McMurray says in chat, Ma or Trisha, bring me more cheesy poops. It's funny because it's kind of my real life or what it was for a little bit. So I learned that maybe I should start looking for partners who were already realizing the things that they said they wanted to achieve in life on their own and didn't need me to do that for them. And it really made me look at dating a lot differently and look at choosing people I was going to date a lot differently. And after that, I met my now husband and my life literally changed because I went to therapy. But I think that there's a lot of people who, like I was saying, whether it's because of stigma or whether they think, oh, I'll never be able to afford it, or whatever reasons we make for ourselves, think, that's not for me. Or you feel like there's strength in dealing with issues on your own. And I just wanted to put this story out there and my story out there to say, there is nothing wrong with asking for help. In fact, I think there's immense strength in going out and asking for help. And I think therapy is a fantastic way to do that. I actually think about therapy as kind of like, people go to the gym and get a trainer for their bodies. I feel like therapy is a trainer for your brain. It just kind of helps maintain a positive and healthy outlook, and that's great. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, Nate and I have talked about going to marriage and family therapy together, not even because there's anything wrong with our relationship, but because having a child is a very difficult transition and kind of re-examining how we function in our relationship and in our partnership with each other since having a child. Like we thought, I think that would be great to be able to go to therapy for that. Now we haven't made the time, but we need to. I also feel like I constantly have crazy anxiety about Logan's safety. Whenever I'm not with him, I get really scared for kind of irrational reasons. I get weird anxiety about social media, which is something I consider doing today's Naked Truth on, but I will maybe do that in the future. I just think that counseling and therapy can help you practice regular positive thinking and overall will make your life happier. I see a super chat from Matt Lamb. Thank you so much. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you for supporting this channel. And guys, if you have any comments that you feel like are going by too fast and I'm not seeing, a super chat is a great way to highlight them and help out this channel. So just throwing that out there. Joffrey says, I went from teen till about 6 years ago. Hi, Joffrey. Good to see you in chat. Joffrey was my friend way back in the day at theater camp. So good to see your name in chat. Hey. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I feel like we should all do our part to reduce the stigma. And that, with that being said, if there's anyone out there who hears this and is like, man, maybe I could benefit from therapy, because again, I think that everybody can. I also live in an area where it's very common for people to talk about going to therapy, so it's not really judged that much. But if you are thinking, you know what, I want to find a therapist, there's a bunch of great resources for that. Psych Central is a great site, and I'll link these in the description. Psychology Today has therapist.psychologytoday.com, where you can find someone in your area. Goodtherapy.org is a great one. If you're thinking about marriage or family therapy, the American Association for Marriage and Family Therapy has a site where you can find a therapist. And if you still like think, I don't think I'm ready to see a therapist for whatever reason, but I would like just a way to be a more positive person in general. A friend of mine introduced me to an app called Youper, Youper, and this Naked Truth is not sponsored by them in any way, but it's a free app that uses artificial intelligence to just kind of check in with you. Like, it's kind of like your AI assistant that's like, hey, how you feeling today? And so you can chart your moods, and they'll say, do you want to practice mindfulness? Do you want to tell me things you're thankful for today? Hey, Matt Lamb, thanks for the super chat again. And it's totally free, and I have it on Android. I'm sure it's also available on iOS, but I recommend that as maybe a good toe in the water first step. I've been using it. It helps me, which is great. So my questions for you guys, hey, is have any of you out there had any good experiences with therapy that you don't mind sharing? Please go ahead and do so. And kind of while I'm waiting for chat to catch up with this, because there's just a little bit of a lag. Nate, my husband, and I both got counseling before we started dating each other, and we constantly credit our ability to work well as partners and to communicate well to the fact that we had both had therapy in the past and kind of were able to look at things a little bit differently because of that. So that's my positive story, and I know it worked for Nate as well. Hi guys in chat. McMurray110 says, I have a therapist that can do appointments via online video, similar to Skype, when I'm too sick to get into Boston. That is awesome. That's actually the kind of marriage and family therapist that Nate and I have been looking for, so that we can put the baby down to bed and then talk to someone. Seamus, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, anything to better your mental health is great. There should be no shame, and I could not agree with you more. Thank you so much for sharing that. Hey guys. Oh, hey, Sylvia's in chat. Hi, Sylvia. Thank you for being here in person. I know Sylvia, she works with me on the Newegg team, if any of you watch my Newegg Now show. I see, let's see, Allie K says, I really liked my last therapist, but I need a type of therapy she didn't offer, and I couldn't afford to go to more than one. I get that. Like I said, finding that, fit with a therapist is so important. So important. Let's see. Jinsen says, the thing is that my baggage is so actually minor from any point of view, it wouldn't be worth a therapist's time. I think a lot of people feel that way, but I don't think that's true. I think most people, and this is actually, I was reading an article by a therapist this morning when I was talking about this, most people that go to therapy, it's for dealing with life transitions or life challenges, not necessarily any kind of large mental illness or serious mental illness or anything like that per se. It's just that people want help getting new perspectives. So I would say not to diminish whatever your things are. If it's something that you feel like a therapist could help you work through, then great. And most insurances cover at least, I think mine covered 6 visits a year. Most insurances will cover a few visits a year. So at least try it out. Matt Lamb with the super chat, again, woohoo, says, hi Trish, you're amazing. Life is hard sometimes, and you can help to make it just a little bit easier. Yeah, any help you can get to make it easier is awesome. Oh, Alan Powell says, they forced me to go to therapy because my school told me I was depressed. It was mostly a waste of time with the exception of learning how flawed the system was and that there were cool therapists. I'm sorry that you had a negative experience. That kind of leads me into my second question. And I'm curious, Alan, why you think it was a waste of time. because it looks like you said you had cool therapists. So I'm curious kind of where that disconnect was, if you don't mind sharing. But my second question for everyone was, have you had any not so good experiences with therapy that you would like to share to maybe help others avoid similar situations in the future? Because it's not always a perfect situation. I know people that have kind of been mismatched with the wrong person, and it's actually, I feel like, made them take a couple steps back. Let's see. SourceFed Nerd posted a link, and I'm going to share it right now. I know it initially modded it and took it away, but I'm going to share it. Thank you. Steve, Texas says, I went to therapy to help me tend to do things 190%. And well, I learned a lot about myself. I spent a year getting things off my chest, and I spent loads of time basically bashing my ex-bosses. You know what? Sometimes you need that. Sometimes you just need a third party to vent to that you know has no ulterior motives to direct your life in any specific way. They're just there to help you make realizations about yourself. So that's pretty good. Jason Hoover says, I was able to deal better with the fact that I was sexually played from the age of 6 to 16 by my grandfather. I still have issues with things, but I've gotten a lot better. I'm so sorry to hear that you went through that, but I'm happy to hear that you feel like you're healing, and that you've gotten a lot better. So I'm happy that maybe going to therapy or whatever you did to get through that helped you through that tough time. John Shaver says, after I've gone through a medical procedure that changed my life, I'd gotten super depressed and had horrible anxiety attacks. 6 months of therapy helped me a lot. Yeah. And like I said, it's those kind of life changes that there should be no shame, no stigma in going and asking for help. That's totally normal. Thomas Toft says, therapy saved my life. I'm lucky, though, living in Denmark where it's free if you can get a referral from your doctor. I've also been committed and have a diagnosis, and that helped me loads. It's interesting that you say that the diagnosis helped you loads, because now as a parent and having other parents who had kids that, you know, you're constantly looking out, like, what can I do that's the best, that will give my kids the best possible chance? And some people really feel like, oh man, if my kid has something, I don't want to label them because that might give them hardships in life. And then other parents feel like, yeah, but if I can get them a diagnosis and then people are aware of what's going on, they might have a way better chance. And, you know, like if your child's dyslexic and you're able to let the school know that, they can have longer times to do testing. Things like that where a diagnosis can really help. I've heard a lot about that, and I've thought a lot about that lately. So thank you for sharing that. Speedbreaker number 1 says, I'm struggling with depression for decades now, and everyone's telling me that everything will be fine, but nothing was ever fine. I wonder if people can ever understand those feelings. I think it's very hard for people who have never been depressed and have never been in that place to understand that feeling that nothing is fine. And of course, saying it's going to be fine doesn't help at all. I'd be curious to see, you probably have spoken to a therapist or gotten some counseling if you've been dealing with that for decades. I'm so sorry that you've been. And I'd be curious to see if it helped change your mindset at all. Jig says, please don't say this has been brought to you by BetterHelp. This has not been brought to you by BetterHelp. This is not sponsored in any way. I'm just, you know, I'm on my life mission to try to be a better person. And so anything that I can do to share my life story that might help someone else out there, even one person, go find help and make their life a more positive experience for them, I'm trying to do. So that's why I'm doing this. Oh man, Eric Milady, how you doing? Says, I started going to therapy again a little over a year ago, and it has helped me so much. I took a DNA test to see what medications would work best with my genes, and I'm so glad I did. Oh, that's so cool. Now I'm down almost 100 pounds and doing better than ever. Congratulations, Eric. That makes me so happy to hear. Eric and I have been messaging each other since way back in the days of SourceFed, and Eric is a pen pal of mine now. So Eric, I could not be more proud of you. Congratulations. Yeah, I feel like a not so good experience with a therapist could 100% be finding the wrong fit. If you find someone that just doesn't gel with you, whether it's a personality clash or whatever it is, and that person makes you not want to talk about things or whatever moving forward, that could be really bad. So then the last question that I will throw out to chat today is, what's one tangible thing that we can each do today, right now, to help reduce the stigma and help anyone else who might be considering seeking help go out and seek some help and get counseling? What are your suggestions to those people? Here are some. I'll start it off while chat's catching up. But here are some that I thought of. we can educate ourselves. Like I was saying earlier, most people who go to counseling are not there for serious mental illness. They're there to deal with life challenges. And I think that's something we can all relate to. And so for people that think, well, if I go to therapy, people will think I'm crazy. That's not true. Most people who go to therapy are just dealing with life. And everyone can relate to dealing with life. So educating ourselves about the facts, maybe being more aware of our own attitudes and behaviors and the words that we use. I mean, I do it all the time, say things in life where I'm like, oh man, that's so crazy. But what does that really mean? And how does that affect people if they're dealing with something and maybe self-identify or, are hurt by those words? Trying to just be more mindful in general. Exploring Fate has a super chat. Thank you so much. Says, is there a way to go without it going on your medical record or any kind of official record? How do you choose a therapist, psychoanalyst, or psychologist? I don't know if there's a way to go without it affecting your medical record. I think it's only if you have a major diagnosis that it affects it, but I'm sure that's probably different based on which insurance you carry. I have never worried about that because I'm like, you know what? I need a better life and you only live once and here I go. And how do you choose a therapist versus a psychoanalyst versus a psychologist? I think only you can make that decision. And I would base it on whether you're looking more for talk therapy or you're looking more for maybe some type of medication or you're not sure. And I would test out different therapists and kind of read the reviews on a lot of the sites I mentioned that I'm going to link in the description and see if you can find a good fit. And that's really, I would also take recommendations from friends if you have friends that have counselors. I did that when I was going. I got a really good recommendation from a friend of mine who you all know, but who I couldn't afford that person's therapist. So I ended up going to someone else. Start a Facebook group of good recommended therapists, says Brad. Someone should do that. That would be awesome. Sylvia said, accept that your thoughts, feelings, and experiences are normal. Your struggles don't make you a worse or lesser person. Thank you. That is a beautiful message and absolutely 100% one that I agree with. Thank you for saying that. Speedbreaker says, it would be helpful to talk about those things without people looking at us like we're freaks. That's why we keep those things to ourselves for a long time. We don't want to feel like lesser people. You are not at all. Like I said, I feel like getting counseling and getting therapy is like having a fitness trainer, but for your brain. And it just helps you to be more positive, more self-aware. And these are things that can help every single person. And I feel like the people who are in denial about that are the people who are going to suffer in the long run because maybe there's things that they're not expressing or dealing with. But yeah, we can all benefit from that. Steve Texas says, you must be open to a therapist. Hiding things from them is counterproductive. I agree. You only get out of it what you put into it is what a lot of people told me before I went into therapy the first time. And that's true. You kind of have to be in a place where you're ready for it, which is why I think forcing someone to go into therapy, like one of our viewers had mentioned in chat that happened to them in school, may not be the best because if you're forced to go into it, you may not be receptive to it, So yeah, the other thing I'd say is if you have a friend going through a tough time, make sure that you're supportive of them. Try to help them in any way you can, even if it's just to listen and be open-minded and focus on the positive and having positive attitudes about them and their journey when you're with them. Dark Sides, Amy says, why are you naked from the shoulder up? I need to do another Naked Truth. But basically the whole point of the Naked Truth series is to be completely yourself without any cover-up. So no makeup, no editing, no clothes to brand you a certain way. Kind of there's nothing to hide behind. You are just inherently you, and that's okay. And who you are today is good enough, even if there's eye bags like I have today. Or if you have pimples, sometimes I think I've got one right here. Yep. Whatever you have, that's you today, and that's real life. I think that we struggle a lot from seeing the photo editing and, filters and everything that people put out on social media, and we think that that's real life, and then we look at our real selves in comparison and feel inadequate. And I think that the more people can put their real self out there every single day, the better it's going to be for everyone. So that's why the naked, and it's not about the viewer, really. It's about the vlogger. And for those of you in the Naked Truth community that make your own Naked Truths, you can weigh in on that too. Some people feel like it's really important to them and what they're saying and how they're saying it to be fully nude. Some people feel like a towel or right out of the shower is a great way to do it. It's whatever works for you. So thank you for asking that question, because I feel like from time to time I need to reiterate that, especially for new people who might tune in that are like, what is going on here? That's the whole point of it. McMurray says, and no mirrors on the walls. That's true. I used to have a mirror behind me, but it was a different angle in my old place. All right. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching today's Naked Truth. And for those of you who are celebrating Thanksgiving this week coming up, oh my gosh, it's so soon. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy almost Thanksgiving. Happy time with your family. I hope that having time with your family does not lead you to seek counseling. For some families, spending time with family can definitely do that. But I hope that you have a good time. I hope that you enjoy the time off if your work gives you time off. Happy shopping on Black Friday and Cyber Monday if you do that. Because I will be going to New Mexico for Thanksgiving, I will not be on Game Engine this week, and there's no Newegg now this week either. So I'm going to be having some time off in Albuquerque, New Mexico with family. If any of you live near there, message me and tell me what I need to check out. We have a pretty full schedule, but I'll let you know if we have anything that's public on the plans in case anyone wants to come do like a mini meetup. But that's where I'm going to be for the next week. So enjoy your week. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you to everyone who shared their stories today in chat. And for everyone watching this after the fact, feel free to sound off in the comments down below about your stories if you're comfortable sharing them. So go support everybody, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.